He's a highly respected cybersecurity strategist, intelligence, and experts. And in Ghana, you can't talk about cybersecurity, serious IT, strategic IT without him, because he has implemented quite a lot of things for the country, Ghana. He has over 29 years of distinguished service across cybersecurity, technology, and policy, and serves as the president and CEO of Africa Global Intelligence and Security Institute, AGISI, where he leads processing, pioneering work in cybersecurity strategy, intelligence, training, and digital policy development. Not only that, he is also the chairman of the African Cybersecurity and Digital Rights Organization, ACDRO, a continental platform promoting digital rights, cyber awareness, and responsible internet governance. Ken also serves as a chair of the Commonwealth Africa Cyber Fellowship. As the former Director General of the Narcotics Control Commission, Ghana, Kenneth led strategic reforms of narcotic control and cyber-enabled crime prevention, and represented Ghana at the United Nations Honlia, Africa, serving both as chair and vice chair. His areas of expertise include cybersecurity and cyber diplomacy, strategic intelligence and national security, internet governance and digital rights, cybercrime and law enforcement, capacity building, and leadership development. Well, one of his notable quotes is, cybersecurity is not just an IT issue, it is a business survivor issue. Well, I think one of the profiles which I'm going to add is that he also lectures at GhanaSIG, and he has been my lecturer. He lectured me in cyber stuff. So if I'm made of very good cyber stuff, he's also your lecturer. Another student is also here. So he has actually also imparted a lot. Yes. So if we say we are doing well, then because we have stood on the shoulders of these giants in this field. So this morning, we are glad to have him take us this morning. And I know by the time he's done, there's no doubt that indeed he is an expert in the field. So ladies and gentlemen, with a clap offering, let's welcome our virtual presenter, Mr. Ken Adu-Amanfoh. Sir, over to you. Your audience are listening.
Yes, thank you so much for that fantastic introduction. Usually when they give you such an introduction, it becomes difficult because, you know, they lift you so high and you have to try and meet the standard. You know, I'm just a small man, a small person, but thank you so much for that wonderful colleague. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a full internet service. I'm going to turn my video off, and then once we get to the questions and answers, I'll bring it back on so that we don't have any interruption on the network. All right. So good morning, distinguished fellows, facilitators, and colleagues. It's a great honor to once again be part of this very important 2025 GhanaSIG, which is a very vital platform shaping the next generation of digital leaders across Africa. Let me commend the president and members and the team members of EGIGFA for the consistency and dedication to building cyber capacity in Ghana and beyond. Your work is not only national, but it's evident that it is continental, and I commend you highly for that. Colleagues, so what we're going to do today, we are going to try to exploit such a topic which I believe is core to the heart of modern commerce, and that is cybersecurity and business. The digital revolution offers great opportunity, but also introduces significant risks, and I'm sure you've been told as you've gone through all the lessons and all the lectures till now. But I want us to unpack what this means for all of us, especially as business and government upcoming leaders and those that are even still in the business. So what do we have to do? What let's unpack it. Let's see what roles we all have to play and make sure that we build a very secure digital economy. So let me they've already given me an introduction, a elaborate introduction, so you don't need this slide. So we'll look at, and first of all, look at an overview of what cybersecurity is. Try to see what kind of, how the global definition of cybersecurity, look at some of the concepts and the goals of cybersecurity. And then we'll move on to explore the complexity of our modern organizations and why we think it is important for businesses to adopt cybersecurity as a key or core business enabler. And then we'll look at, as part of that, we'll review the scope or an outlook of the entire internet. What happens within a second that demands that all businesses take cybersecurity critical. And then we'll move on to explore the cybersecurity landscape within an Africa region and why the need for businesses, why the need for cybersecurity within businesses. We'll look at some of the sector challenges that are confronting us and some of the key strategies that we need to adapt and employ. And more importantly, how does the public and the private sector, how does government and the businesses partner to secure our digital ecosystem? And then look at some outlooks, and then we'll bring it to a conclusion, right? So what is cybersecurity, and why do businesses need cybersecurity? Now, the ITU, I'm sure you all know about the ITU, the International Telecommunication Union, which is the technology and telecommunication arm of the United Nations. They are responsible for standard settings and coming out with all frameworks and approaches and all that. I'm sure most of you have heard about that. Now, they have defined cybersecurity as the collection of tools, policies, security concepts, security safeguards, the guidelines, risk management approaches, actions, trainings, best practices, assurance, and technologies that can be used to protect the cyber environment and organizations and the user's assets. So there are many schools of thought, there are many definitions of cybersecurity, but I think this is standard because they are the authority and it's all encompassing. It talks about, so cybersecurity is a whole package, and this, but as we go on, we'll unpack them and see how we can take advantage of this definition. Now, so if you look at the entire scope of cybersecurity, following the definitions that we just saw, it highlights that cybersecurity is not just a terminology. It's not just, a one-size-fits-all process that you just take, plug in and play and go. No, it's a whole comprehensive process, approaches, and all that. So first of all, it highlights that cybersecurity is a collection of tools. So that means if you want to build your cybersecurity ecosystem, first of all, you need to identify the right tools, different tools that are very relevant for your situation, for your environment, and all that. And then also the second point is that it's a development of policies. I'm sure the IT guys among me will agree with me that one of the key safeguards within our IT environment is the development of policies. Human beings needs to be told what to do. If you just leave it to them, so if you come out with IT tools and IT equipment and systems for individuals to use, you need to tell them how they should use it. You need to tell them the pros and cons of it. You need to tell them the do's and then the don'ts, and these are all captured in policies. Just like we have corporate policies that guide the way we operate within our corporate, within the IT environment, within the cybersecurity environment, there are policies that we need to implement, or we need to define for the users of our IT system or our digital environment to use. So it's a development of tools. So it's not just one policies. Sorry, it's a collection of tools and development of development of policies, not just one policy, but different policies as and when you introduce the digital solution, as and when you introduce the IT solutions, you need to define policies to guide them. There are policies that are already out there that you can adapt which policies use your environment depending on what kind of IT system, IT solutions you are implementing into your corporate environment. All right. So if you are introducing an emailing system, it's important to introduce email policies. You are introducing social media, as a tool to work, you need to implement policies. So there are different policies. And then the third one says that you need security concepts. We'll talk about security concepts in detail. And then you also need security safeguards. The safeguards, what are the safeguards to the IT environment? What does it safeguard to the tools, to the hardware, to the software, to the systems, applications? And how do you safeguard your digital environment? How do you safeguard your corporate IT infrastructure? All right. And then we come to the guidelines and best practices. Guidelines and best practices. These guidelines, best practices, means something that has been implemented, tested in different environments, and proven to work perfectly. Then you can adapt it, and then you can deploy within your environment. So it's all there. All you need to do is to identify the right one which fit for your environment, and then you can adapt it and then use. And then we come to the risk management approaches. In every sector of our economy, in every endeavor, there are risks. If you decide to move your car from your house to your final destination, either it's your workplace or church or wherever you are going, that journey comes with its inherent risks. And it's important that you put your risk mitigations, processes in place to make sure that So in everything that you do, in every project, in every work, in every there are risks, and you need to find a way, implement approaches to manage this risk. And then lastly, or last but not least, is actions and trainings. You don't just deploy the tools. You don't just buy the expensive antivirus tools and all the intrusion detection, intrusion prevention tools, and then put them on the table. It will become more like a white elephant, right? So you don't just develop these nice policies that are approved and looking very nice in your books. You don't just come out with the concepts and the safeguards and everything. You need to take action. If you don't take action, it's more like, you better off have not even have deployed it at all. All right. So you need to take action. Now, when you're taking action, there has to be training. You can't deploy, you can't give the tools to your users and without telling them how to use it. You can buy a very fantastic, nice birthday gift, maybe of a car, a very powerful car, and give it to your wife as a birthday without making sure that your wife has the adequate training to be able to drive. Else, then is nothing more than kind of a white elephant. And then after that, we talk about the technologies, the technology that we need to deploy. As a cybersecurity expert, as an information security expert, you need to recommend to your IT team, work with them to recommend the right technology to deploy. All right. So I'm not sure, maybe I'm not sure if we should finish the whole slide or we should give an opportunity that you can interrupt. I don't know which is.
I think when we finish at the tail end,
finish.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So from the definition to what we just discussed, what actually is cybersecurity? And cybersecurity, colleagues, is just prevention of damage to protection. This was defined by NIST. That's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which is also an authority in this regard in the US. So they find that cybersecurity is the prevention of damage to, the protection of, and restoration of computers, electronic communication systems, electronic communication services, wire communication, and electronic communication itself. So the systems, the services, and the communication itself, including the information that is being transferred. You know, when we're talking about information, we are talking about data, processed data. So when your communication on the communication channel is basically information that you are trying to transfer from one point to the next, and this information is purely data. All right. So how do you even secure this? How do you protect this data that I contain to ensure its availability, integrity, authentication, confidentiality, and non-repudiation? So it means the data that is stored, you have to ensure that the systems are available, the data that has you can prove its integrity and it's authentic. You have to ensure the confidentiality of it and non-repudiation. So let me take you to the concepts. These are very key: availability, integrity, and confidentiality. This term you can all remember as an acronym, CIA, where CIA means confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Anytime you remember the CIA in the US, then you remember your key concepts for cybersecurity, or the key goals of cybersecurity is to always ensure confidentiality. It's always ensure integrity of the information, integrity of the data, integrity of the output of the output of the system, the processes that are being channeled or taking place, the output, make sure that their integrity, and also the availability. Availability means the system, the tools, the data, whatever you need to work are available as and when you need it. You know, security is a very complex task, and there is no foolproof. Security is no foolproof. You can deploy all the systems you think is best tomorrow. The criminals or the fraudsters will come up with it. They will find a way around. Let me give you an example of your house. So you said, hey, you want to secure your house. You build an electric fence. The next time you realize these guys will find a way to jump over that electric fence. You put a bug-proof windows. The next time they will find a way to cut it. So security is always emerging and always as and when to, tailor to the situations that you have. All right. So these are the three key, don't forget about it, the three key goals of cybersecurity. And it's not just cybersecurity, it's even for all security. The three key goals or the three key concepts, basic concepts, is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Don't you ever forget about this, all right? And at the end of the day, I put a very key note here. So the most valuable currency of trade in cyberspace is information. When you see the Americans and the China, trying to compete and fight about 5G and 4G and all that, at the end of the day, it's all about information. How the speed of getting that information, how quickly can I get that information? How secure that information? So it's all about information or data, right? So this is the key. Now, so why is this so important that we even have to think about when we are talking about cybersecurity? We have to even be thinking about businesses. Why is businesses so important? I mean, why is cybersecurity so important to businesses? When we go back to the olden days, in the days of my grandpapa and in the days of even our parents could just set up a business with only paper work. All they do is to just take a paper or a book and just be recording all stuff, recording their transactions and everything, communicating, it was just paperwork. But in this modern, complex world, we have a very complex organizational system. Now, all businesses, all institutions, organizations are embracing digital tools as a business enabler. And these digital tools are all vulnerable points for cyber attacks. We are now, communication channels have changed. It's not just a wire, just taking a wired phone, and then you call. Now it's cordless. We are using emails. Modern organizations are embracing emails, using mobile devices, the tablets, your phone. You can just walk in bring your own device and just plug in into the corporate Wi-Fi, and even use your phone to access the corporate network, corporate systems. These are all vulnerable points, for cyber attacks. Corporate websites, social media. We have organizations recent have adopted even WhatsApp as a corporate communication tool, and these are all, I can't say it enough, these are all points or access points for the fraudsters, for the criminals to attack the organization. E-commerce is one of the key tools for most businesses. Online banking, applications, your network, you're adapting networks, different networks, and we're employing network management tools to manage our different networks, local area, wide area, and networks that are cutting across, the globe. Backup systems and remote access. So now businesses, unlike the traditional businesses, now have to deal with all these different digital tools. All that are all business enabler tools. They are tools that we need to work. They are tools that we need to make our business profitable. But as much as we are deploying this IT infrastructure, IT tools and equipment to enable our businesses, it is also a point of attack. So businesses now have to worry about all this. Businesses have to spend money to protect and safeguard your emails, your tablets, your phones, corporate phones. You are giving them the website, social media, online banking applications, online e-commerce systems, and all that. And this is the reason why cybersecurity has become a very critical part of any business or any corporate institution. And that is why this topic is very relevant today and forevermore. As long as technology keeps evolving, we will need cybersecurity as an integral part of our operations, right? Now, let's take a look at our internet within every 60 seconds. Now, remember all the digital tools that I spoke about, they ride on the internet. So the internet has become it's a very critical resource for every business or every organization. Now, this was just an statistics that were gathered, by Go Globe for 2025, prediction for 2025. And it says that for every 60 seconds, for every 1 minute, this is what goes on at the internet. We have about 243,000 photos being uploaded on the internet. Remember, the internet does not forget. We have more than 3.8 million searches of Google within a second. 3.8 million. So can you imagine within 60 seconds? Sorry. So can you imagine within 2 minutes? Can you imagine how many searches within? And each search is vulnerable. Anytime you connect the internet is free. It's not secure. It's an unsecure environment. So anytime you connect one device to the internet, it becomes an access point for the criminals to attack you as an individual or your organization. So can you imagine 3.8 million searches? More than 350,000 tweets are sent. More than 65,000 photos are uploaded. More than 210,000 snaps are uploaded. So Netflix about more than 87,000 hours of video watched within just 1 minute, just a minute. So when you look at all this, you realize that, look, it has become the internet has become very vulnerable and very critical, and that is why it's important that every organization, every business that is using the internet or running its business on the internet, it needs to adapt or implement cybersecurity safeguards to secure its internet and to secure its digital ecosystem. All right. So these are all I'm setting the stage for our discussion, why it's important to and why there is that interplay between the internet or the businesses and cybersecurity. All right. All right. So let's look at the cybersecurity landscape. Cybersecurity is not just about technology. Sometimes, anytime we talk about cybersecurity, people think, oh, cybersecurity is for the IT. Let's leave it for the ITs. So most businesses don't even want to bother about cybersecurity. They just leave to the ITs. And when the ITs are bringing a business case to justify why we need to deploy safeguards and tools, businesses don't really care because, hey, what do I have to do with cybersecurity? Go and protect your infrastructure. But the stage that I set, going through all that, looking at the internet, what happens within a second, and all that, the modern technology, is to show businesses, is to show us that, look, cybersecurity is critical. So cybersecurity of this age is not just about technology. It's about protecting trust. If you're a bank delivering services, or an e-commerce, any institution delivering services, even government delivering services to their citizens using the e-government platform, which is a digital platform, the clients or the citizens or the customers demand a trust. They are trusting you that every information that they are giving you, their personal identifiable information that is being channeled to your digital systems, will be protected. They don't want to get up tomorrow and say, hey, my credit card information is leaked. My personal private information that I have to channel because I have to register to use your system or your banking system or your online system has been compromised. No. So securing and deploying cybersecurity as a safeguard within your digital ecosystem is number one, protecting trust for the customer, protecting trust for your clients. And number two is to secure your operations. If there is a cyber attack and your operations come to a halt, trust me, you have no business. And that is why it's important that you secure your operations. And also the third is reputation, protecting your reputation. Reputational damage can bring your business down, can cause you to lose all your customers. So it's always important to put a safeguards to protect your reputation. If your customers' private information is compromised, it's going to be like a bad fate, and almost it's possible that you are going to lose all your customers. So that's why it's important that these three key aspects are key to your operations, and that is why it's important that since they are riding on a digital infrastructure, it's important that you protect. Number two, now, when we look at the trends, we've seen an increase in cyber attacks within the African businesses. Small, medium enterprises are being attacked as much as the large firms are being attacked. We'll talk about it. Sometimes the small, medium businesses think that, oh, I'm a small business, so I don't even have to invest. I am immune from cyber attack and all that, but that is a wrong motive, a wrong narrative. Both small businesses and large businesses all get attacked at the same time. At the end of the day, it's all about data. It's all about confidential information. All right. We realized that in 2025, there was a prediction that cybercrime is now a global business, and is projected to cost the world about 10.5 trillion annually by 2025, and we are in 2025. So that means the number of attacks, the confiscation of attacks is increasing and expanding and affecting all dimensions, all sectors within our economy. So these are some of the reasons why it's important that as an organization, you take the necessary measures to implement the relevant cybersecurity tools or the relevant cybersecurity investment within your organization. Lastly, let me say that cybersecurity is no longer a luxury as it used to be. It's an operational imperative. You cannot do anything without cybersecurity. So why do businesses need cybersecurity? I think the stage has been set, and it's obvious why businesses need cybersecurity. We need to protect our businesses against cyber threats and make the most online opportunities. No business with an online presence is immune to a cyber attack. The financial, the physical environment, and the legal implications. Can you imagine your system being compromised through a cyber attack and confidential information of your customers or your clients being leaked out there? Each of these customer can sue you as a company, and that is why it's important. And that's what brings the legal implications. So the financial cost, there is the physical damage of your digital tools that you need to replace them, and then there is also the legal battle that you have to face if your systems are compromised or are hacked, right? So it's important for every business to invest in cybersecurity. You are investing, businesses, why do we even have to put all my limited, resources are limited. There's so much that you need to do. And security is not cheap. It's very expensive. So most businesses will ask, why do I have to invest? Why do I have to put my limited resources to buy these tools, to buy all this intrusion detection system, intrusion preventions, the firewalls, and all the safeguards? It's too expensive. Why do I have to, invest in such a huge quantities? It's important because almost every digital tool that you deploy has vulnerabilities, whether you are big organization or small, and if the attacks even has to be successful, it's going to cost you more than what you should have invested in putting the security controls within your technological environment. And again, as I mentioned earlier on, reputational damage is something that you want to protect. Customers and employees expect and trust that you keep their information secure. You keep their data secure. All right. So now, this is also just to still on why we need businesses, why businesses need to embrace cybersecurity. Cyber risk, as it's always said, it's a business risk now, because the whole business is running within the cyber digital ecosystem, and it's important. So every cyber risk is a business risk. Data breaches can lead to lawsuits, fines, and customer losses. Downtime from your system being hacked, either by ransomware or denial of service, can bring your operations to a halt and affect your productivity and your revenue. Insider threats, whether negligent or malicious, account for a large portion of security incidents. So the business case for cybersecurity is important. As experts, as fellows who are being trained, we always have to come out with a business case for cyber investment, a business case that will convince the top management, those that have the purse, to invest and commit to securing the digital ecosystem, the digital environment that they have invested to establish to run their businesses. All right. Security investments protect intellectual property, operations, and customer trust. It's cheaper to prevent a breach than to recover from one. Good cybersecurity enhances your business values and public perceptions. All right. So I give you this quote right here. I say, cybersecurity is not just an IT issue. It is a business survivor issue. You want your business to survive, you need to invest in securing that technological environment or space that you have deployed to enable your business, if I should say so. All right. Now, just want to look at some of the sector-specific. Please, if I'm going, my time is about 30 minutes to the time. Please prompt me. I like to talk too much. Some of the sector-specific challenges that we face, if you look at small, medium organizational enterprise or small businesses, they often lack skilled personnel, people with a tight cybersecurity knowledge or skills. And that is why we need people like you. Businesses are looking like experts like you, to come and help them secure their environment. Most of these organizations, they lack basic skills, and if you look at the financial sector, the prime target is for phishing, ATM malware, and identity theft. For startup and digital platforms, rapid growth with weak security frameworks. They have not adapted any security frameworks. They just go, they are improving. Their digital platforms are working with no security. So when there's one attack, everything just comes to a halt. One of the attacks that we've also seen China is on the critical national infrastructures. And when we are talking about the power, the electricity, our water SCADA systems, we are talking about telecom systems, the health systems. If any of these critical national infrastructures or digital infrastructures are attacked and brought to a halt, it's more of a national security issue, because it's going to affect the stability of our economy. All right. So these are also an area that we've seen a lot of attacks. All right. So in Ghana, for instance, we've seen a number of attacks, local attacks. I will give you few examples, but we've seen the SIM card fraud, we've seen mobile money fraud, we've seen online banking scams. This is on a height, and it's not just in Ghana, but it cuts across the region, the African region, and even globally, right? Some of the attacks that are confronting Africa, just a few examples just to buttress my point. In Ghana, within the banking, we've seen attacks on the banks and telecom infrastructures. For instance, in 2021, there was over 100 million GhanaSIG stolen from mobile money, SIM swap frauds coordinated with insiders. So as an organization, think about the insider threats, attacks from within, employees being compromised is one of the key ways of a successful attack. We have also seen in 2023, there was also a payroll attack, and this was also due by insiders rerouting salary payments into personal accounts using internet access. So once the internet is there, once we are using digital tools, like I said, it's all vulnerable point or access point for the attackers to gain access onto your digital environment. In Kenya, there was an attack in the telecoms and small medium. Again, in 2022, there was a denial of service attacks on the ISPs. E-commerce platforms were exposed customer data through unsecure databases. Can you imagine what will happen there? I mean, the cost that is going to come due to reputational damage and legal suits and all that. In 2022, in Nigeria, there was a ransomware attack transactions on the business email system. The email system was compromised and funds were stolen. You know, emails were spoofed and then at the end funds were stolen. In South Africa in 2023, there were insider rerouting salary payments into personal accounts. And similarly, there was an attack on the Justice Department of the public sector, which resulted in a data breach and service disruption. So these are just a few examples, but there are a host examples that you can, if you Google them, you can find a lot of them. So I'm saying that small businesses think again. As I mentioned earlier, small businesses think that why should I invest so much? But if you look at the statistics right here, you realize that small businesses made up about 58% of cyber attack victims. They are easy to attack them than even the huge corporate institutions. The total cost of data breach has been estimated at 3.92 million just for small businesses. Lost business due to reputational damage accounted for a whopping 36%, and only 20% had a protocol to audit or monitor their cybersecurity. It said that small businesses, about 60% of small businesses will fold. That means they will be closed if there is a successful cyber attack. This is the reason why, whether small or big business entity, it's important that you embrace cybersecurity as core operational goal. All right. Now, let's look at some of the key cybersecurity strategies. Cybersecurity can always be successful when you have top management buy-in. And that is why, as a cybersecurity expert, it's always important to come up with a strong, solid business case to convince top management to buy into it and deploy, you know. So first of all, you need leadership and culture. The first cybersecurity key strategy is that you need leadership and you need a culture, a cybersecurity culture within your organization. Once the top management accepts cybersecurity, then it becomes a culture, because once the directive comes from top, everybody will have to fall in line, and everybody. So you need that business culture, cybersecurity culture, top management buy-in, and a culture to have a very successful business for cybersecurity becomes a business enabler. And then the second strategy is risk-based approach. Risk-based, you always need to identify your key business assets and the risks that may confront these key business assets. Once you're able to do that, then you're able to identify, you do your risk ranking and to be able to identify the vulnerabilities and recommend the safeguards that needs to be implemented. So when we talk about risk-based approach, it's a continual process. It's not just a one-off. So constantly you need to conduct a risk assessment of your digital tools, your digital environment, identify the vulnerabilities, and plan response strategies to cover it. Imagine there is a successful. How do you recover? First of all, you are protecting it, you are preventing it. But if there has to be, the attack is successful, how do you also recover? We'll talk about that later. Technical controls. This is for the IT guys. I'm sure most of you are IT guys. You need to identify the right technical tools and equipment to deploy. One size does not fit all. So you need to identify your environment, know your environment, identify the vulnerabilities within your environment, and get the right tools, deploy the right tools and safeguards and controls to protect your environment. All right. And last, is compliance and regulation. In every sector, there is an authority, there is a regulator. The regulator has requirements, demands, and that we need to comply with, So you need to identify the requirements, the regulatory requirements, and deploy the system to you. So usually the cybersecurity or the information security expert is supposed to help the organization be in compliance with regulatory requirements by deploying the right tools. Now, everything can be automated. You don't have to go and hit the brake and hammer and all that. Everything can be controlled. And one of the regulatory authorities that we need to make sure that we meet their requirement is the Cybersecurity Authority. Most organizations have, most institutions or countries has an authority or a body, a government body responsible for cybersecurity. So you need to know, in Ghana, we have our Cybersecurity Authority and we have the Cybersecurity Act. We need to make sure that we embrace ourselves with the content, the provisions within the Act, so that we don't fall short or we don't go against the dictates. We also have the Data Protection Act, which also demands attention to privacy and compliance. We need to be in compliance because they can shut your business down if you fought against any of the provisions of this act. Public-private partnership is very key. No government can fight cybersecurity independently or alone. If you take the internet, government does not provide internet. The internet provisions are from the private sector. Most of the IT tools and equipment come from the private sector. So that is why it's important that you engage public-private partnership. Public-private partnership is key to a successful cybersecurity implementation in everywhere. And this can also happen even within your corporate institution. You can also engage external parties or external private entities who has the expertise to help you in protecting, implementing the controls to protect your digital ecosystem, all right, or the digital environment. There are opportunities for collaboration within every country, and these opportunities is when there is a national cybersecurity authority or a national body responsible for cybersecurity authority, a body, a place that anybody can go and engage. threat intelligence sharing is also an effective tool. If intelligence are not shared, if government has intelligence keep to themselves, if the private sector have an intelligence of a cyber attack that is coming to hit the country and they don't share, then we'll all find ourselves. So threat intelligence sharing is very, very key strategy to having an effective public-private partnership. Industry-specific information sharing is key. If you are within the banking sector and a bank identify a threat, it's important that they share with your colleague, organizations within the banking institute. All right. Now, talent, 1 second. All right. So, talent and capacity building is key. You cannot, as I mentioned earlier, you can deploy the digital tools and equipment and IT system without building the capacity of the users, the capacity of the engineers, of the IT guys, of the experts. You need to build capacity. You want top management buying, you need to build capacity. We've seen a skills gap, cyber skills gap within the African continent. There are lack of inadequate cybersecurity engineers, inadequate analysts, policy experts, trainers are lacked. I mean, the resources are lacked. And that is why I always, want to thank EGIGFA for this continuously building capacity within the African continent. And so it's very key. So your role as a fellow in building capacity is to consider your mentoring. Whatever you learn, you have to share. I always say that whatever training you go, whether it's a small, see yourself as a the trainer. Once you go, you have to pass the knowledge on. So consider yourself as mentors, that you mentor people, the skills, the knowledge that you have acquired with it, you share it, so that others, you can build more capacity and bring. We can't have everybody at a goal in this fellowship. So once you have the opportunity, it's important that wherever you are, you try to share, you try to mentor the upcoming ones, those that are new, through internships, through innovations. If you're an IT manager, if you're a cybersecurity manager, you can bring people in, mentor them. You can do it on your own so that we have more. We need to encourage the youth and underrepresented groups, especially the women. We need to get them more to be part of cybersecurity. I'm saying cybersecurity is not just an IT, it has become an operational tool. So we need to get more people to help us. All right. Now let's look at a future look. The future outlook is becoming more scary because the threats, there are new emerging threats that are coming. We know of the ransomwares, we know of the denial of service attacks, and we know, but colleagues, you have to know that technology is quickly advancing. New emerging technology are coming up so quickly, and as they come, they changes the dynamic of the cyber attack. Now we have the AI-powered attacks because the AI has come, and now, so whatever is coming, whatever tool, they also have the counterfeits. So we have AI-powered attacks. So can you imagine? AI-powered attacks can be very dangerous. How do you even identify? We have the deep face, quantum computing is coming, and all raising high risks, supply chain vulnerabilities. We have the zero trust model. So we need to make sure that we embrace ourselves with the new technologies and make sure that we constantly upgrade our security posture, security architecture, the safeguards to be in tandem, to be in line with the emerging threats. So it's a continuous process, all right? Now, zero trust model, we need to adapt as a business, we need to adapt the zero trust model. Never trust anyone. not even your CEO. So the CEO comes and say, hey, give me access to this. And so he's a CEO. So you just open the door. No. Don't trust no one. Always verify. Assume breach and contain risk. When there's a breach, assume it and find a way to contain the risk. All right. Digital sovereignty and ethics is key. We must balance security with privacy and innovation. Privacy and innovation. African nations must shape cyber norms and digital diplomacy. So we need to imbibe digital sovereignty, imbibe the ethics, imbibe digital diplomacy into our digital ecosystem. All right. Now, some key takeaways. Cybersecurity is equal to trust and sustainability. So anytime you are thinking about cybersecurity, think about trust and think about sustainability of your business, sustainability of your operations, and the trust that your customers has entrusted in your care. Right? Think about risk governance. So risk governance, as I said, for an effective cybersecurity implementation, you need top-down approach. So the governance approach is very key, and you have to be proactive. You don't have to wait. You don't have to be reactive. Wait till it happens before. Be proactive. Conduct your usual risk assessment, identify the vulnerabilities, the loopholes, and come out with a proactive solution to protect or block those loopholes before it happens. So prevention, as they say, is better than cure. All right. And always allow leadership to drive. Resilience at drive. So if you want cyber resilience, it has to be driven by leaders. If your leaders don't buy into it, you have already failed, because cybersecurity is expensive. The tools, the equipment, the process are all expensive, and you need top management or top leaders buy in so that they can provide you with the necessary support in terms of financial support to be able to do what you do. Yeah. Small businesses are frequent victims of cyber attacks. There is no faster way to sink your business reputation than by being careless with your customer data. Many businesses haven't taken adequate steps to protect their data. It's important that they take steps. If you are a leader or you're an IT person, push that adequate steps are taken to protect your data. There are many sensible measures you can deploy to protect your business. Cybersecurity clearly matters to customers, which means it matters to your business. All right. Now I have a call. There's a call of action to all fellows that I've gathered here. Don't let this training that you have gone through be a waste. This training is to build your capacity to be champions within our cybersecurity ecosystem. Be a champion within your small business environment, a champion within your house, a champion within the sector, within your working place, within your country. Be a champion by championing, selling the need for cybersecurity and helping mentor and bring people to it. I also encourage you to have that shift of mindset from reactive to proactive. As I mentioned earlier on, prevention is better than cure. Always promote cyber hygiene everywhere you go, home, office, school, and church. And together we can all build a cyber-enabled digital environment or digital ecosystem and have a very nice, safe drive within the cyber or the digital ecosystem. All right. Let me leave you with this quote. So that security is not a product. It's not a plug and play. You don't just buy the two firewall, you buy, then you come and fix, and you think it's done. It's a process. That is why there has to be continuous review, continual risk assessment, continuous review. It's a process. You build it, and you build, and you build, and you build, and you build. All right? And it is a process. It's a mindset. It's a collective responsibility. All hands, right from top management to the cleaner, everybody needs to have a cybersecurity mindset, and everybody needs to contribute to the safeguard of our digital ecosystem. Knowledge, as I say, will make you stronger. Knowledge is going to make you control your life. Knowledge is going to give you the wisdom to teach your children. And knowledge is the thing that makes you smile in the face of disaster. And that is why the Bible says that for the lack of knowledge, my people perish. So, colleagues, that is why we are taking you through this, giving you this knowledge. No matter how little it is knowledge. If you embrace it, I'm telling you, it can take you to the top and put a smile in your face. So, in conclusion, I want to say that cybersecurity is everyone's business. Let us rise together and secure the future we are building. I want to thank again the president and his team at GhanaSIG and the board members, of course, and the entire GhanaSIG community. Your commitment to building a secure digital future for Africa is quite inspiring. Thank you so much for your audience. But let me say that I have more slides for the sake of time. That is why. So I've added some more slides for you, tips for small businesses that you can read, on your own. Cybersecurity and employees. Your employees are the weak links. So cybersecurity starts and ends with your employees. So I'm just leaving for the sake of time. I won't need us to have some time for questions and answers. So I'm leaving you all the slides. You can read them at your own time. All right. Thank you so much for your audience. The floor is now open for questions and answers.
Well, I told you so. All right. So we'll start with the questions. All right, Doc.
Hello, good morning. Okay, so my name is Patience. Yes, thank you so much for the very detailed presentation. And
can you be a bit louder? I can't hear.
Okay, sir. Please. I said thank you very much for the detailed presentation. My question is around what's your perspective is on African culture and digital security. Let me put the question in context. In Africa and especially Ghana, we like to help ourselves. So I'm giving a biometric card as an access tool, and a colleague leaves the card, his or her card at home, and the person comes to work, and Patience, can you give me your card? And as an African, I cannot say no. And this is what we do day in and day out. We log into people's portals to work. And to what extent have you discovered this in your work? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So yes. So this is a common practices or common events that we encounter all the time, and that is why it's important that wherever you are, whether it's a small business or a large business or government business, you need to have policies in place. So you have given somebody his digital biometric access card or whatever, and you haven't shown the person or outlined the person the do's and don'ts of using that card, then it will virtually go wrong. One of the mistakes that we do, sometimes we know there are policies, we know, but we think, hey, this is my friend, I trust my friend. And that is why I was talking about the zero trust. Talking about the zero trust no one. Not even your boss. Your boss can come and say, hey, your boss can come and say, look, Maggie, I left my card. Can you give me your card? Or I left this. I have an emergency. I need to do. Can you give me your? trust no one, because whatever card is given to you, whatever access is given to you, is your digital footprint. Anytime it is swapped, anytime it is done, whether it's a card or it's just a common username and password, is the key to your digital footprint. Anywhere you use it, it is recorded. You understand? So you can't run away if there is any unauthorized activity. You will be held responsible. So most often than not, people, this the many errors that happen, and that is why it's important that we conduct much cyber awareness and campaigns and education and training. It has to be continuous. It has to be continuous. You deploy the policies, you train them on the policies. It has to be continuous over and over again, because it's errors that we do. And mind you, you give it to your friend. When there's an unauthorized activity happens, you'll be the one who is going to jail, because the evidence is on you. So I'm not sure whether I've answered your question adequately.
You want to? Okay, I think there's a follow-up on that same question.
Okay.
Yeah, so mine is just a follow-up. We are in Ghana, as you rightly said, and we have the Data Protection Act 843, if I'm not mistaken. And in Ghana here, we have small businesses that deal with sensitive data, personal information, confidential documents, and these are the internet cafes we have operating, and most of us rely on these printing press internet cafes to do make things happen. So what is the Data Protection Act doing about this? Like the Data Protection Commission as a government entity, what are they doing about these services that we go and seek from these small businesses? Those are the cafes and printing press. I have been in this ecosystem for some time now. I was a cafe administrator, like in my early career, and I deal with a lot of confidential information, which shouldn't be so. You can just enter an internet cafe, and right there, you've seen someone pay slip on the floor. Moving to the desktop, we don't run a clean desk policy, no best practices. So what is the Data Protection Commission doing about it? Are they going to move forward regulating them in a way like so?
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'll say is that the Data Protection Commission in Ghana and even within the African region, in our region, are on top of their game. In fact, most countries within the African region actually set up their Data Protection Commission even before the Cybersecurity Authority. Many of them don't even have a Cybersecurity Authority, but for data protection and data set, it's been around for a while. But Africa is still not matured yet. We are still, in front, and more work needs to be done. In Ghana, for instance, I know the Data Protection Authority, they are very key. Every organization needs to have a data champion. They have a terminology, I think they call data champion, and he's supposed to and there are requirements. We need to, once you are an institution that you manages customers' information or people's confidential information, or you manage data about people, you are required to register with the commission. And from time to time, I've been in an organization that the Data Protection Commission came to do an audit. So they are working, but like I'm saying, we are in our infant stages, so they might not have be able to cover everywhere. But trust me, they will. The act covers almost everywhere. Whether it's an internet cafe, everywhere it covers everywhere. Anybody that handles. So I think that they have to increase their effort, and that's why I'm saying that government alone cannot fight. We need a public-private partnership. That is why we need champions also outside government or outside the commission to also help in monitoring and doing all this, because the commission alone cannot cover everywhere within the country. Look at how many internet cafes and where they are even heading, So we'll get there. I know they will get there, but trust me, if you have found a lot of internet cafes have been closed. A lot of onus of having arrested and prosecuted. So it's not like nothing is being done. Something is being done. But like I'm saying, they are now coming, they don't have the full capacity in terms of workforce to be able to do. And that is why we need champions like you and me to also contribute to this. If we see, we report to them and they can take action.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Kenneth, and thank you for taking time to give us this detailed presentation. So my question is more or less like a use case, like for startups. For instance, you made mention of the impact of how globally, when you don't invest in these things, the cost about 10.5 million. So for a startup who is starting in Ghana, who is not very keen on putting records together, what should be their basic investment to do? For instance, you say when building the business case for investment, it's very expensive to build these tools. Okay, with statistics in Ghana, you notice that most of the startups, about 40% of them just make profit, and 60%, less than 5 years, they're out of business, they collapse. So what should be, if I'm an advocate or if I'm a fellow and I get a chance to meet a startup and I'm building a proposal for them, what are the basic tools I should kind of communicate as a startup point for them to kind of invest? Because in the long run, they might not even have more funds to even invest in those expensive cybersecurity tools. So what are the basic things I should capture in my proposal in engaging them? Yeah.
So the first and the key and the most powerful tool to deploy with next to nothing cost is cyber hygiene. Cyber hygiene. I'm talking about cyber awareness, cyber culture within the organization. So as you are setting up, make sure that you promote cyber, everybody within it's just training capacity. You don't need much to train your people and tell them, hey, we are a cyber-enabled institution and we take cybersecurity for just the awareness creation. You see, without awareness creation is the most powerful of all the tools that we can talk about. And it's almost next to nothing, you understand? So cyber hygiene, cyber culture, cyber mindset, that is what you need to promote first from the inside among the organization. And this can cost you nothing. You understand? One of the weakest links to cyber attacks are the users of the digital system, your employees. They are the weakest link. And why are they weakest? Because they don't know. But if I tell you that, hey, if I tell you that, look, no, we don't, we never, as part of our operations here, we will never call you on the phone and ask you for your username and password. So if anybody calls you on a username and password, it means it's not right. Contact the IT or contact this. If you tell them that, look, once you give you this computer, when you are getting off your try and either shut it down or lock it if you are getting off your tape. So these are basic tidbits that we can use to train the people. One of the slides that I've given you to go, the tidbits, you see that it talks about the customers. Sorry, it talks about it talks about cybersecurity and employees. It talks about some of the things that you can deploy. All right. So there are basic things. So, but the main word for it is that cyber hygiene, cyber culture, awareness creation is what you need, and training. All right.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I think we have a lot more questions. And our next listen is a hand online. All right. So please keep your questions under 30 seconds. Then the answer to will be under 1 minute so that we can have a lot more engaged.
All right. Thanks, Kenneth. And so my question is about BYOD. And so why are organizations moving towards or trying to introduce BYOD? And also, personally, I have an issue with some two policies which I'm going to be reading out. And the first one is the company or organization having the right to monitor work-related applications? And does this not leave the gap for businesses to interfere in personal affairs? And two, despite personal ownership, users are required to ensure devices containing personal information or connecting to company resource are maintained with the required software updates and security patches. Does this not leave a space for vulnerability or something when it comes to the company and the employees itself?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think that's a very important. So bring your own device has been around for a very, very long time. And it's because of the high cost of digital tools. A company, especially starting, or you can't even a startup, you can't use all your money to buy, because companies realize that it was very expensive. And that is why they allow people, individuals who want to bring their own devices to bring their own device. And I say it's not a force. Somebody like to use a MacBook. He's used to using MacBook and he works better with MacBook. The company's policy, they are providing only Windows laptops. So they cannot give that individual a MacBook. So if you can work well, they will say, okay, we will allow you to bring your device to connect, but these are the conditions. For you to connect to our corporate environment, we need to make sure that all security patches are there, security controls are in there. You understand? You can't download any software application, because all software applications that we download within our corporate environment is verified. So there are conditions that follow. And in the same way that they are giving you condition, every organization has a duty to provide confidentiality of its employees and its customers or clients' data or confidential information. So if they breach that your information by using your own device and they got access to your data and they breach, you have every right to sue them and pay. So they have the right, as much as you have the right to abide by their policies, they also have the right to protect your confidentiality and on the access. All right, thank you.
All right, as exciting as it is, we are constrained with time. And we are so sorry we can't take real-time questions now, but put them together on the platform. We'll package them and send it to him. He will provide answers. Because already the next speaker is already waiting for us. All right. Thank you very much, sir. We are very grateful for